Time is on my side. I'm Bud the Spud from the Great Red Mud. Okay, I have to continually talk about things until I'm talked out. So I'm Bill the Geek, and from Bill the Geek Land, I want to remind you that one of my subtopics on this channel is bullshit and bafflegab. And today's topic so far has been about viruses, and in my last talk I explained viruses are so small you can't see them with a light microscope like the kinds you would use in high school science. You have to use an electron microscope to see them, which you might find at a university. Virus particles are incredibly small. So what they do is they take a picture of what they've seen with electron microscope, and then they call that an electron micrograph. And that's what you might see published somewhere, internet or on a piece of paper. What is the issue I have with electron microscopy? What the hell are we looking at? I can't tell you how many times magnification we're looking at, but it's unbelievably small. Is it like 50 billion times magnification? So I'm calling bullshit, total bullshit, electron microscopes. Because you don't know what the hell you're looking at this billion, and I don't know what it is. Maybe it's not a billion. Maybe I can't tell you what the magnification is. It's super lots, way more than a light microscope in your high school science class. Super lots of magnification. How the hell do you know you're looking at anything whatsoever? I don't know how to put this across in words. You don't know what you're looking at, and they label it and say, this is a virus budding from a cell. Oh, really? How do you know that? I'm a professor of biology. I'm in the business of manufacturing electron microscopes, scanning electron microscopes. I'm sorry. We have had the wool pulled over our eyes by lying sons of bitches who charge probably millions of dollars for an electron microscope if you're buying it at a university. You cannot tell me that you're looking at anything and make me believe it. That's a virus particle. Oh, I see. And it's too small for using tweezers on it. So how are you going to say, if I used tweezers that were, super small, I could pick up this budding virus particle and add it to another cell and make that new cell infected with a virus? They don't do that. How do they prove to you that viruses cause disease? They tell you a very long story about some scientists decades ago. I don't know, maybe it was 70 years ago, doing these kinds of experiments. And these experiments are very logical, and they prove that viruses cause disease and they're transmissible. And then, you read it in the biology textbook. Your biology teacher or biology professor says, that's the way it is, folks. And then there's going to be a test next Monday. So you better study up on it, and these are the answers you better give. You are all brainwashed, and you are taught this is the way it is, because that's how you get perfect marks on your quiz. I've seen electron microscopes, and I've seen electron micrographs, and I've seen a scanning electron microscope. And I've had 25 years to ponder. I didn't ponder it for 25 years. In fact, I don't ponder it at all. It just comes to me. It comes up. It's my bullshit detector, which I didn't have 25 years ago. Well, I did, but it just didn't work so well when it came to big institutions like high schools and universities. But it's coming up now, and it's waving a big red flag saying, this is bullshit. It's bullshit, because how did they ever get this thing? I don't know how they got this thing, but you follow the white rabbit down the rabbit hole, and then you come out the other end, and incredibly tiny things. Anyway, I'm going to move along, and I'm going to talk to you about somebody new who talked about viruses and said viruses are not physical things, they are things in consciousness. So at the current time, I don't know how to even explain this. It gets so difficult to explain all this stuff. But anyway, this person said that it's an idea. An idea is a thought form. How do you see a thought form? You have to be someone who's very psychic, with maybe your third eye opening up. But the whole point of it is, this person says, because it's a thought form related, you could be totally in isolation. Physical isolation, and you could still be susceptible to getting a virus into your head, because consciousness, it's non-local. In other words, you can't localize a consciousness. What does it mean? It means all minds are connected. How am I going to prove that to you? I'm not going to. I'm just going to tell you this is the way this person thinks. So if all minds are connected on planet Earth, and you live in an isolated community, let's say you live on a reservation in northern Ontario, Canada. It's fly-in, there's no roads. And then you start getting COVID-19 test positive there. Well, you're going to say, well, someone flew in from Thunder Bay, Canada, which is a small city, but it's a big city compared to these reservations, and that's where it came from. And I'm going to say no. I'm going to say, according to this person, it's in consciousness, and you've been watching the news channels that talk about viruses, and you went to high schools, Ontario high schools, that taught you about virus diseases. If you're on a reservation, and if you'd never been contaminated by European colonization, and you were still using the old ways, would you ever believe in a virus? Maybe you'd believe in something else. Maybe you believe they were evil spirits like wendigos. And that's what people got sick from. I'm going to move along, but I just keep reminding everyone that no one on planet Earth is not connected to other people. And most of us are connected by internet and television. But what about people who are in maybe there's an island off the coast of is there any island left on planet Earth that is still in isolation from the rest of the planet in 2020? No. Although I read about one a couple of years ago. I think it was off the coast of India. But if you believe that an island off the coast of India with population about 1 billion people has never been visited by outsiders, you're insane. In 1975, National Geographic magazine had a big article about tribes of people in the deep Amazon who had never met outsiders. But in 1975, that's when they started meeting outsiders. I don't believe it. What do you mean? I don't believe it was 1975 was the first time. Civilization, and maybe not civilization, but humans in general have been moving around this planet since, I don't know, the last ice age, 10,000 years ago. No one is in total isolation. Maybe they forgot. In my great-grandparents' generation, somebody new popped in. But let's go with 1975 National Geographic, and we'll say that's when these isolated tribes first met outsiders 45 years ago. In the past 45 years, do you think there's anyone left in the Amazon jungle who hasn't been met by outsiders? In other words, there's nowhere on the planet. But even if we said, okay, somewhere there is an isolated somehow, something, somehow. Well, according to non-locality, the minds of the people in that area are still touching our minds. Because consciousness is not bounded. How does this work? Well, if we go back to the Amazon, there is a jungle medicine that they make there called ayahuasca. Used to be known as yage. And William S. Burroughs, the novelist, went there in search of a cure for his opioid addiction. I don't know, 1956 or something, maybe. And he found this stuff, and another word that was being used for this stuff was called telepacine. Because you take this jungle medicine, and it brings on telepathy. And it was being used by the tribes people. They would take this jungle brew, they'd develop telepathy, and they'd know where the forest pigs were. So they could go on a hunt, and they could use their telepathy, close their eyes, and they could see where the pigs were. And that's how they hunted pigs, with telepacine. So do you really need this jungle juice in order to bring on telepathy? It does work. But maybe it's just a latent talent that you can develop without taking the drug. The whole point is we're all connected by one mind.